What's up? And today we're going to be watching a video by the young man Visual Venture. If you haven't seen the videos by him before, they're very good. I enjoy them quite a lot. But I think this is the first time reacting to one, so this will be fun. I like this one. It's called Cartoon Episodes Banned for Controversial Reasons. Now, I have a feeling that one Pokemon episode is gonna be in there. If you've ever heard of it, if you're a Pokemon fan, that's like it's like one of the old like Gen 1 episodes. For like seizures and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna spoil too much if it is in here. I have a feeling it is gonna be, but let's get into it.
What happens when a cartoon causes panic, outrage, or even medical emergencies? It gets banned. Today we'll look at cartoon episodes banned for being too controversial. My goal this year is to give you guys double the amount of videos that I upload for you guys, but it's actually turning out to be a more daunting task than I realized because, you know, we're not some content farm or anything, but I am not going to give up, and it would really help if you subscribe so you do not miss any of our new videos. And I promise to do my best for you guys. I'm Visual Venture, and as always, you guys are awesome. Peppa Pig.
You too, man.
In 2004, Peppa Pig released an episode called Mr. Skinny Legs. Kids loved it, but when parents saw it, they panicked because that episode told kids to do something that could be deadly. And this wasn't a small issue. Peppa Pig was influencing millions of children. Its official channel has over 40 million subscribers. It also has 30 billion views across 8,000 videos. So you can imagine how many kids watch it. Peppa Pig was made for preschoolers, and these kids are still learning how the world works. That means kids don't just watch Peppa, they copy her. So what dangerous lesson did this episode teach? In this episode, George finds a spider in the bathroom. Instead of running away, he picks it up.
George likes the spider. The spider likes George.
George shows the spider to Peppa, but when she sees it, she panics.
You have to help me with the tea party.
Eventually, Daddy Pig comes to calm Peppa down. He calmly explains that spiders are very, very small and can't hurt you. So instead of getting rid of the spider, he encourages Peppa to befriend it. By the end of the episode, Peppa is about to have a tea party with the spider.
Mummy, Daddy, sit down. We are all going to have tea with Mr. Skinny Legs.
The message is straightforward. Kids shouldn't be scared of spiders because spiders are harmless. For most of the world, it was a reasonable lesson, but in Australia, it was unacceptable because Australian spiders aren't just scary, they're deadly. Australia reports over 2,000 serious spider incidents every year. Some of the world's most poisonous spiders live there. One bite from the wrong...
Australian spiders are the protagonists in Australia. They're not. It's not people. The animals are the protags in Australia. Like Australian spiders, bro, bigger than my whole hand. A whole spider just bigger than my hand will just be sitting on somebody's face. Like they really thought they were gonna get that way with that one in Australia. That's crazy.
One can end a person in minutes. Telling kids to treat spiders like friends in this case was a very bad idea. Luckily, parents in Australia noticed the episode quickly. They went on a campaign to get it banned. Australia's public broadcasters, ABC and Nick Jr. were the first to ban the cartoon. They said it sent the inappropriate message that spiders are friendly and not to be feared. But they didn't stop there. Another Peppa Pig episode featuring the same spider character was also banned in Australia. It became an unofficial policy, no spider-friendly messages on Australian TV. If you know this next cartoon, you'd be surprised that it is surprisingly vulgar for what it's supposed to be. Dexter's Laboratory. Dexter's Laboratory was one of Cartoon Network's biggest shows. But people don't know that one episode was loaded with so much profanity that it had to be buried. It's shocking because...
a bit different, but that's like... Because like, I care a lot about animals and the environment and everything, so I try to like look... I have this little app on my phone that like tells you what type of like bug or like insect or like whatever it is, right? And it tells you like if it's dangerous or not. So like I'll pull that out and then use that. I'm not like making contact with the spider or anything like that. Like I'm keeping my distance, making sure to respect it like as a full animal. Oh, I think I just turned on tracking. Turn it off. I use my hands when I'm talking, so that's a huge problem. But yeah. So I use the little app and everything most of the time, and I'll have like a little plastic container or something. I'll just grab like a little plastic container that has like a lid on it, and then like try to like coerce it into the container or something like that, and then just release it outside. But that's like something I can do because I'm experienced with it, and like I know that like, hey, I don't have to freak out about this, right? But for Australians, and like, you know, if you don't really know what you're dealing with, then it's super just bad optics to just be like, oh, befriend every spider, bro. Like, that's crazy. Oh. Wee. My water alarm. Alarm. All right, let's get back into
The concept of the show was so innocent. Dexter's Laboratory was about Dexter, a boy genius with a secret
Dexter.
lab under his bedroom.
Let's go.
But one person made his life a living hell.
Dee Dee.
His loud, annoying sister, Dee Dee. The series started in 1995, but just 2 years later, in 1997, they created the most offensive episode ever. The episode was
The year I was
titled
born?
Rude Removal. And as soon as you see the title card, you'll know there's a problem. Dee Dee flips the middle finger, and Dexter moons the camera. The story wasn't any better. Dexter is fed up with Dee Dee's rude behavior, so he builds a machine to remove her behavior literally. He's going to zap the rudeness out of her.
This machine has the ability to remove and contain the most
Oh, yeah, early
annoying
cartoons were
personality
no
trait
joke.
known to man.
not child-friendly.
Rudeness.
But Dee Dee refuses to cooperate.
Oh,
Not as child friendly
You're
sometimes.
the rude one, brother.
Dexter and Dee Dee fight and fall inside the machine together. That's when it goes from bad to worse. The machine malfunctions. Instead of removing their bad behavior, the machine duplicates them. Now there's a polite Dexter
I think I
and
remember
a
this
polite
one.
Dee Dee. And
I
there's a
remember
rude
this
Dexter
episode.
and a rude Dee Dee. And when I say rude, I
I
mean
remember this
vulgar.
episode being shown somewhere. Maybe I'm tripping.
Ollie. Beats the
Or maybe they
cat.
remastered it.
Why, you're in Dexter's laboratory, silly.
The rude versions of Dexter and Dee Dee drop the F word over and over again.
Okay. I don't think I saw this version.
Oh, dear.
The episode was finished and ready to air on TV. The last step was Cartoon Network's approval. Executives watched the final cut and they were horrified. They banned the
Yeah.
episode on the spot. They didn't even
Makes
show
sense,
it to
yeah.
a test
I probably
audience.
saw the
They just
edited version.
pulled it. Rude Removal never aired on TV, but animators mentioned it in interviews. But they had no footage to back up their
they?
claims. For years,
just-
fans assumed
am I
that
just
Rude
bugging?
Removal was just a
I feel like I
rumor.
remember a
Then in
similar episode. Maybe
2013,
it's-
Cartoon Network broke the silence. They confirmed the episode was real, and they were going to put it online. Even after the
Oh.
announcement, some fans refused to believe it. They left comments like, "It doesn't exist. Prepare to be disappointed." When are you people gonna realize that Rude Removal doesn't exist? But Cartoon Network wasn't bluffing. They uploaded the full episode online through Adult Swim. It was raw and uncensored, exactly as it was made in 1997.
Hey, watch where you're throwing that. Go.
I feel like they made
The video
another
went
version of
viral,
it.
and today you can find Rude
Where'd they
Removal
went?
with a quick search on Google.
When
Up
they
next
cloned
is a
it.
cartoon that played too much with the
they
devil.
cloned
Darkwing Duck. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, America was in the middle of something called the Satanic Panic. At the time, people believed that cults were trying to recruit and harm kids. One of the biggest fears was that TV shows were filled with hidden messages designed to lure children into the occult. And right in the middle of that Satanic Panic, Disney released a cartoon where a child made a deal with the devil. It went as badly as you'd expect. The controversial episode aired in October
I know that wasn't
1992
going down
on the
in the Bible
Darkwing
Belt.
Duck TV show. Darkwing Duck followed Drake
That was not
Mallard, a
going down in the
mild-mannered
Bible
duck
Belt.
by day. But at night, he became a superhero called Darkwing. Each episode showed him fighting criminals while trying to raise his daughter, Gosselin. But one episode went in a direction no one expected. It was titled Hot Spells. In the story, Gosselin visits a magic school. Almost immediately, she was bullied by the mean kids at school. Upset and alone, she wanders through the halls. That's when she meets the school janitor. But this isn't a normal janitor. For starters, he had a strange name.
Bring Yorick in, will you? The name's Beelzebub, chief custodian.
His name is
Yikes.
BLZ for Beelzebub. Now, Beelzebub isn't a made-up cartoon character. He's very real. In the Bible, he's Prince of
know.
Devils. In many other religions,
a lot of the
Beelzebub
parents
is one of the 7 princes of hell. That means he's a very powerful and dangerous
were
demon.
worried about
So in this
this
cartoon, the janitor is Beelzebub
are
in
not gonna be
disguise.
going
He
down
realizes
with,
that
like, hell of a
Gosselin is
boss
struggling
and,
and offers to help. He leads her into a
Hazbin
secret
Hotel.
library filled with
Not gonna
forbidden
fly.
spell books, and he convinces convinces her to cast a spell. Gosselin reads from one of the books and casts a dark spell. She feels powerful. She thinks she's becoming a real magician. But there's one thing Beelzebub hasn't told her.
That's not
Using that
fly.
dark spell means she's
no
drawing
way.
power from him. Without realizing it, Gosselin just made a deal with the devil. Eventually,
no
Beelzebub
way.
drops the disguise and reveals his true form.
Okay, where do you think your power came from, huh?
From there, the
no
story
way.
gets more unsettling. Beelzebub tries to drag someone to hell. Darkwing tries to stop him. A lot happens,
Bruh.
but in the end, they defeat Beelzebub. It was obviously a weird story, but somehow Disney approved it and it aired on TV. The backlash was instant. The moment it aired, phone lines at ABC lit up. Parents were furious. They saw a little girl gaining power by making a deal with a demon. To them, the cartoon made it look like working with the devil had rewards. During the height of Satanic Panic, that message was explosive. Many parents already believed TV was pushing kids toward the occult. Now they felt like they had proof. ABC panicked. Disney pulled the episode the very next day. They refused to rerun it, sell it, or stream it anywhere.
they're
The only
not-
copies that exist today are the
They're
ones
not crazy
people recorded
claims. A
on
lot of people that
VHS
do that
United Air.
are just very
This next
shady
cartoon has been
individuals
banned for
indeed.
nearly 100
Like, what's his
years.
name? Bro, from there are a lot of people that were involved in a lot of those early cartoons that what was his name? Was his name Dan Hartman? I don't want to throw shade on his name if it's not him. Let me see. Nah, that's not his name. Dang, what's his name? Nickelodeon. Dan Schneider, I think his name is. Was it Dan Schneider? Schneider controversy. What was he doing, right? It was like the abuse, right? Yeah. Abuse and inappropriate behavior on the show, like with the kids and whatnot. So like, yeah. Like those parents, I can't even blame them for saying that, because like even like in the media industry in general, there's just a lot of people who don't abide by, like, they think they're above the rules, right? They don't abide by like respecting basic human decency and behavior and things like that. Like with the thing with Diddy too, it's like the entertainment industry as a whole. Like there are a lot of people that just don't care. There are a lot of people that do, but there are a lot of people that don't care that get highly publicized and stuff like that, and they have like bigger positions in certain companies and stuff like that, which is huge thing. Huge thing as it's been getting discovered over the past few decades. But I say that to say the parents are not wrong for having their suspicions about that, because there are definitely a lot of people that are shady and that would probably try to push such shady agendas had they the opportunity to, without the backlash. That's just my opinion.
Mickey Mouse. In the 1920s, Mickey Mouse cartoons followed the same pattern. Mickey got into trouble. He found a way out. Everything ended on a happy note. That formula made Mickey Mouse a hit from the late 1920s into the early 1930s. Then Disney made a mistake. They broke the pattern. And what they created was so disturbing that theaters refused to show it. It became one of the first cartoons ever banned. The controversial cartoon came out in 1933. It was titled The Mad Doctor. The cartoon begins with Mickey waking up to strange noises. His dog Pluto is crying because he's being kidnapped by a hooded figure. The kidnapper drags the dog
why do you look
through
like
the
a member of
woods.
the
It's a scary
KKK?
scene with wind, thunder, and lightning. Pluto is taken into a dark castle. Inside, the hooded figure removes his cloak. It's the Mad Doctor, a crazy scientist
adjust the
obsessed
camera.
with animal experiments. And he kidnapped Pluto for his next experiment. The doctor plans to cut off Pluto's head, sew it onto a chicken's body, and see if the creature can lay eggs that hatch into puppies. Yeah, that's the actual plot of a Mickey Mouse cartoon. In the
What
lab,
the heck
Pluto
is
and
that
a
about,
chicken
bro?
are strapped to operating tables. The experiment is about to begin. Meanwhile, Mickey races through the castle to rescue his dog, but it's a trap. The Mad Doctor captures
Pluto.
Mickey and ties him down. Then he lowers a massive
What
buzzsaw
year
toward
was this?
Mickey's body. He wants to chop Mickey in half.
Was this
Mickey
after
can't
World War
break
II?
free. Then just before it's too late, Mickey wakes
With
up.
like,
It was all a dream.
Mongol and
Mickey is in his
something,
bedroom
stuff
and
like that,
Pluto
Joseph
is
Mongol
safe.
in there?
The dog runs into Mickey's arms. So why on earth did Disney make such a terrifying cartoon? Well, they said it was supposed to be a tribute to
Frankenstein's
classic
monster.
horror
That's what I
movies
thought.
like Frankenstein. But viewers didn't care about the tribute. They only cared about how disturbing it felt. Back in the early 1930s, most people didn't have TV sets at home, so cartoons like Mickey Mouse
it
were
was
shown
like
in
that.
theaters. Theaters
it
in the
hadn't
US
happened yet.
were the first to see The Mad Doctor, and they disliked it so much that many flat out refused to play it. The theaters said it looked too scary for kids. Some
Makes
other
sense.
countries felt the same.
Oh,
In
they
the
were
UK,
talking
the
about
Board
Nazi
of Film
Germany.
Censors banned it. Then Germany banned it too. Clearly, people didn't love this cartoon. After that, The Mad Doctor disappeared. Disney put it aside
know
and
why
stopped
they didn't
promoting
like
it.
it.
But it didn't
They were
disappear
exposing what they
forever.
were
For some
doing
reason,
low-key.
folks at Disney didn't set up the
In Nazi
copyright
Germany.
for The Mad Doctor properly, and that copyright error allowed it to slip into the public domain. That's why today you can find The Mad Doctor on YouTube. It's one of the few Mickey cartoons you can legally watch for free. This next cartoon was so disturbing, it never even made it to the screen. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003. If you grew up in the 2000s, you probably watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I
The
did.
show followed four
Turtles
turtle
coming
brothers who
down,
fight
turtles.
crime. It was action-packed and perfect
Chain
for
reaction
kids, but in
turtles living
2005, one
underground.
episode pushed the show into
Watch out for
nightmare
Shredder.
territory. It was titled Insane in the Membrane, and it centered
Insane.
around one character, Baxter Stockman. Baxter started out as a genius scientist, but he worked for Shredder, the Turtles' main enemy.
Watch out
Every
for
time
Shredder.
Baxter failed, Shredder punished him with surgery. Each failure cost him a part of his body. By the time this episode begins, Baxter isn't even human. He's just a brain and a spine floating inside a glass tank. But Baxter
That's insane.
refuses to give up. He wants to rebuild
Literally.
his body. However, a friend warns him about the dangers. Rebuilding a body from scratch could damage his mind. Baxter doesn't care. He's a genius, and he finds a way to clone a new version of himself. And at first, it works perfectly. He can walk, he can speak, he feels human again. Then his new body starts to fall apart literally. His skin, his fingers, and his face begin to disintegrate. As his body decays, so does his mind.
Nah, bro. I hope he's not gonna show it. I don't like this.
By the end of the episode, Baxter has completely lost his mind. It no longer
Why
feels
am I-
like a
why did I
kid's
even
cartoon.
click on
It
this
feels
video?
more like a psychological horror. The Ninja Turtles cartoon was rated TV Y7.
Y7,
That means the
you
show
can't
is
do
designed
that.
for kids over age
I'm not
7.
messing with
This
that. I don't
episode
like
went
that stuff.
far beyond that rating.
I don't
It
like all
showed
that
mental
horror,
breakdown
gory
and
stuff.
emotional
I don't like
torment. It was extreme even
just
for
not my
adults.
cup of
Fox
tea.
executives watched the final cut before it aired. They were reportedly horrified. They said there was no way they could air the episode, and that was it. The Insane in the Membrane
Y'all gotta
episode
skip a week,
vanished.
put in
But
some filler.
not completely. It didn't air in the United States, but a few months later, it quietly aired in the UK. Fans recorded the episode on VHS tapes and uploaded it onto the internet. That's how it began to spread. Over time, Insane in the Membrane became a legend. It was a banned Ninja Turtles episode that most fans couldn't find. Nearly a decade later, in August 2015, Nicktoons finally aired it
excuse
in
me,
the US. This
Nicktoons?
was its first official broadcast. But the cartoon in our next chapter aired before
Why?
it got banned, and it triggered one of the messiest controversies in kids' TV. Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toon Adventures was about the adventures of young cartoon characters. They lived in the same world as Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Porky Pig. Like most cartoons, it tried to teach kids important lessons. In 1991, the show picked a very sensitive topic: alcohol. They wanted to show children the dangers of drinking. But the way they handled it made the
They made it
episode
look fun,
extremely
didn't they?
disturbing. The episode was part
made
of
it
a
look too
3-story
fun.
special called Elephant Issues. One of those segments was titled One Beer, and it got straight to the point. It opens with Buster Bunny, Plucky Duck, and Hampton Pig hanging out inside a house. These 3 cartoon characters are kids. They open the fridge and look at their options.
Juice, milk, soda, or a cold one.
They find a
Cold
bottle
one
of
is
beer and
crazy.
debate whether to drink it.
Buster, this isn't like you. I know, but in this episode, we're showing the evils of alcohol.
Crazy.
Eventually, they gulp it down. Just one beer. Within seconds, they're stumbling around. Because of the alcohol, they're not thinking straight, so they steal a police car. If that isn't bad enough, they drive the car straight off a cliff. There's a huge explosion. The next shot shows the 3 of them floating up into heaven. That's the whole
So
story.
far, I
One
kinda
drink,
like it.
one car crash,
think it's
one
fine.
trip to the afterlife. Before it ends, the characters make sure the audience hears the lesson, just in case some didn't get it.
I kind of think this episode
I
is
hope
fine.
the kids
I'm not
got the
gonna lie.
message. Yeah, drinking's uncool. So do we get to do a funny episode tomorrow? I hope so.
The creator of the show later explained what they were trying to achieve. He said the segment was a parody of old public service announcements, the kind that used over the top to scare kids straight. But parents didn't see it as a parody, and they didn't feel like the lesson about alcohol made sense. To them, it was a shocking story where everyone dies in the end. After the episode aired, angry parents bombarded the network with complaints. Cartoon characters getting wasted, crashing a cop car, and passing away wasn't suitable for kids. Fox had no choice. They banned the episode. It never aired in the United States again. Fox Kids also removed it from syndication. That means that other channels couldn't buy the rights to show it anymore. It wasn't even on VHS or DVD collections. The goal was to erase One Beer completely. But some viewers recorded it the night it aired in 1991. Years later, that VHS copy made its way into the internet. That's the only reason we can still watch One Beer today. Kids, cartoon characters losing their lives is bad, but this next episode allegedly caused a real-life tragedy.
It did?
Beavis and Butthead. The scene in a cartoon was blamed for costing someone their life, and that cartoon is still popular today. Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead is about two dumb teenagers who cause chaos wherever they go. When they aren't out causing trouble, they're sitting on the couch binge watching TV. The jokes on the show were edgy, the kind of humor teenagers love. But in 1993, one episode pushed things too far. It was titled Comedians. The Comedians episode begins like any other. Beavis and Butthead are watching TV, laughing at whatever comes on. They see a stand-up comedian on screen, and they're inspired. Suddenly, they decide they want to be comedians too. Most people would write jokes or practice before going on stage. But Beavis and Butthead don't think that far ahead. They head out to a local comedy club with no preparation. Once they're on stage, the disaster begins. Butthead goes first.
What's green and red and goes 100 miles an hour? A frog in a blender. Get it?
Nobody laughs. He tries other jokes, but the crowd boos and kicks him off stage. Beavis goes next. His jokes also fail. People walk out in frustration. In his desperation, Beavis does something reckless. He sets the newspapers on fire and starts juggling. And then the club burns to the ground. That was a joke. He played with fire and burnt down a building. It was supposed to be another edgy joke, but this time it didn't stay a joke. 1 month later, a 5-year-old boy from Ohio found a lighter in his family's mobile home. He started playing with it and the fire broke out. By the time it was over, his sister was gone. She was only 2. The tragedy shocked the country, but what came next shocked people even more. The victim's mother claimed her son loved watching Beavis and Butthead. Reporters connected the house fire to the episode Comedians. They figured that the cartoon taught the boy to play with fire. In other words, they were blaming Beavis and Butthead for the tragedy. The media ran with the story. Suddenly, Beavis and Butthead wasn't just crude, it was dangerous. Even the town's fire chief spoke out. He said, if you get these cartoon characters saying it's fun to play with fire, this is going to stick in that kid's mind. MTV went into crisis mode. They removed every fire-related scene from the show. Even old episodes were re-edited. Beavis had a catchphrase, fire, fire.
Fire.
MTV cut it out completely. They changed it to Fryer Fryer. They also pushed Beavis and Butthead to a later time slot. Then they added a new disclaimer before every episode, warning kids never to imitate Beavis and Butthead. But the backlash kept growing. It still felt like MTV hadn't done enough, so the network banned the Comedians episode completely. It never aired on TV again. When the episode finally came out on DVD, the fire scene was cut. The original version survived only because fans taped it when it was first aired. But there's a final twist in the story. So remember the kid who started the fire in the trailer? He grew up, and years later in 2008, he revealed the truth. He said his family never had cable. They couldn't afford it. So he couldn't have watched Beavis and Butthead. But why did his mother lie? He said she made it up because she had substance issues and wanted attention. But the worst revelation was this. After the fire started, his mom called a news station before calling the fire department. By the time anyone learned the truth, it didn't matter. For years, people blamed Beavis and Butthead for the tragedy. The damage was done. The next episode on this list is banned everywhere on Earth. That's how bad it is. Pokemon. Cartoons aren't supposed to send
is.
kids to the emergency room, but in 1997, one
Yep.
episode of Pokemon did exactly
It's the
that.
epilepsy
To understand how that
seizure
happened, you need
episode.
to know the characters on the show. I mean, I
These are like
assume
Porygon,
you know them
right?
already, but
Porygon.
just in case. The series followed a boy named Ash Ketchum. He traveled the world catching magical creatures called Pokemon. His favorite was Pikachu. Pikachu was like a yellow mouse that could
Yeah,
generate
Beavis and
bursts
Butthead
of
is crazy,
electricity.
though.
In almost every episode, Pikachu
believe
battled
that. How
other
you call them
Pokemon
news
as they
before
traveled, and during one of those battles, the problem happened. The episode was
fireball.
titled Electric
Oh,
Soldier Porygon. It was first aired in Japan in December 1997.
Porygon
In the episode,
episode, yeah.
Ash and his friends meet a
Is he
strange
Osborn?
Pokemon named Porygon. It's a creature made entirely of data. Eventually, Ash and his friends bump into the bad guys on the show, Team Rocket.
Team Rocket! The Pokemon Center is in panic because of you guys. Stop it right now!
They get into a fight, and during the battle, Pikachu releases an electric blast. That moment created a crisis for viewers. To animate Pikachu's power, the studio used bright red and blue flashing lights. The lights flickered rapidly, faster than the eye could handle. This is a scene with the flashing removed. The scene lasted just a few seconds, but the effects were instant. Across Japan, kids watching the episode began collapsing. Some had seizures, some passed out, others struggled to breathe. Paramedics raced from home to home. Hospitals couldn't keep up. The press called it Pokemon shock. By the end of the night, 685 kids were hospitalized, all because of one scene in a cartoon. Pokemon was pulled from TV immediately. The show didn't return for 4 months. Even the government got involved. Japan introduced new rules restricting flashing lights in cartoons. Electric Soldier Porygon
That's
was
one of those
banned
learn as you go
worldwide. It never
type things.
officially
I can't
aired
even get mad
anywhere
at it.
again. This episode holds the
wasn't a
Guinness
content
World
thing.
Record for most seizures caused by a TV broadcast. It even became
That's
a
a
pop
crazy
culture
record.
reference.
But, like,
In one episode
most,
of The Simpsons, the family visits Tokyo.
Yeah, like most of these are like judgment errors and things like that, like based on the actual content of the show. But this one is like, that's like kind of like a learn as you go type thing. It's like, yo, I doubt that anybody at that point had actually predicted that like that scene and that combination of colors and bright lights would have triggered such an effect in so many kids. Like, cause that's kind of one of those medical conditions that I think at that time was not very widespread or well known, especially not because like digital media was just like becoming a thing in like the mainstream. So yeah, I don't know, man.
They turn on the TV and Bart asks,
Isn't this that cartoon that causes seizures?
it was funny, but the real event was tragic. For hundreds of viewers, that Pokemon episode was the most dangerous cartoon ever broadcast. My friends, if you see something inappropriate for kids online, report it. Especially now with the internet being
Yeah,
so
100%.
much more advanced
I have to
than many
report
of
half
these
the internet.
cartoons. Because you never know. That could make a bigger difference in a kid's life than you
I'm
think.
so glad
Visual
that
Venture.
YouTube Kids exists. That's one thing.
So we
that's
talked
good.
about controversial cartoons for kids, but if you want to take it up a notch,
if you
there's a
wanna-
reality show where
Wait, what? Is it what? What is it?
they left kids alone with no adults,
40 kids,
and it became
no
the
adults.
most controversial reality show ever.
I want to
created.
react to that, but hey, we'll do that next. Actually, we'll watch that one next. Yeah, if you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe, go follow Young Homie as well. Visual
Click
Venture
here to watch
And,
it. Love you guys.
Yeah, that's gonna be the video. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna react to the reality show, the kids reality show, because I don't know about this one. I don't know, but I'll see you in the next one. Bye.